Imagine a world balanced on the edge of eternity, where invisible lines divide hearts, choices, and destinies. Somewhere between heaven and earth, a quiet but profound separation is unfolding. And God, in His infinite wisdom, begins to turn the page of history. Few see it, fewer understand it. Yet, this is the moment that will echo through eternity. The world had grown accustomed to routine. Cities pulsed with life, nations rose and fell, and hearts sought comfort in fleeting things. But beneath the ordinary, a subtle current of divine orchestration stirred. It whispered through the winds of change, spoke in the silence of prayer, and lingered in the hearts of those who dared to listen. Some walked as if blind, chasing shadows. Others, though unseen, carried a light that could not be extinguished. And in that silent contrast, the stage for God's great turning was set. History, as men knew it, seemed to move in cycles of power, greed, as fleeting triumph. Yet God's timeline was different, patient, precise, and sovereign. He did not rush, but His movements were like a master's brush on an eternal canvas, subtle but irreversible. And then came the stirrings of change. Nations quivered in ways they could not explain. Leaders felt unease in their decisions, as if unseen hands were guiding outcomes. Markets, alliances, even the very foundations of society felt tremors. Not all would recognize the source. Only those attuned to the spiritual currents could feel it. The hidden separation was at work. A quiet question arose in the hearts of the faithful. How could this be? How could one world, created by the same God, feel so utterly divided in purpose and vision? The answer came not in thunder or fire, but in clarity of choice. The separation was never random. It was a divine test, a sorting of hearts, and a turning of history itself. And maybe that is our own hidden battle, the tug between comfort and conviction, ease and obedience, between following the crowd and following God. It is in these choices that the invisible line is drawn, separating the ordinary from the extraordinary. Yet, the conflict was not merely human. Cosmic forces watched and waited. Angels moved in ways unseen, guiding, restraining, and sometimes confronting the tide of rebellion. The earth was a stage, but heaven had its eyes fixed firmly on the players. And God's plan, inscrutable yet perfect, began to manifest. In a small town, unnoticed by the world, a single heart cried out in true faith. That cry, humble yet piercing, rippled outward. It touched others, unseen but real, weaving a network of light amidst encroaching darkness. The separation was not only divine judgment, it was revelation, awakening hearts to what had been hidden. And then pivotal moments arrived. Decisions once postponed became inevitable. People faced choices that would define generations. The faithful, though few, found courage beyond measure. The indifferent, though many, began to see the consequences of neglect. God's hand was turning the page of history, and the ink was eternal. It was a moment that could not be ignored. Those attuned to God's voice understood that the world had changed, not outwardly first, but within. Hearts were awakened, eyes were opened, minds, once clouded by ambition and fear, began to perceive the invisible currents shaping life. And in the midst of this awakening, God revealed His quiet yet undeniable presence. Not in overwhelming spectacle, but in subtle confirmations. A word of encouragement, a dream, a vision, a scripture opening to the right heart. The separation was not cold, it was discerning, tender, and precise. Yet even as hearts were revealed, darkness resisted. Temptations, doubts, and fears surged. Those unwilling to align with God's path found themselves increasingly isolated. But this was not vengeance. It was clarity. It was the world responding to choices made in light and shadow. And in this tension, the climactic revelation came. God's plan was unstoppable. The moment of separation was not to punish, but to purify and prepare. A new chapter in history would begin, one written by the faithful, guided by divine wisdom, and anchored in eternal truth. Perhaps the greatest lesson of the hidden separation is not only the discernment of others, but the examination of one's own heart. Where do we stand when choices must be made? Will we follow the fleeting applause of the world, or the enduring voice of God? And as the page of history turns, it is clear that the unseen lines are not arbitrary. They reflect divine vision, separating light from darkness, truth from falsehood, courage from complacency. Each choice matters, each heart counts, and each soul echoes in eternity. The faithful are called not only to witness but to participate, to act, to love, to serve with discernment and courage. The hidden separation is not merely a moment in time. It is an eternal invitation to align with God's unfolding plan. And so, as the world spins on, the quiet yet unstoppable hand of God continues to write history. Not all will see the ink, but those who do will understand the profound depth of His wisdom. They will see that even in separation, there is purpose, and even in challenge, there is grace. Perhaps one day the world will recognize this moment as sacred, the turning of the eternal page, where hearts were weighed, choices revealed, where history itself aligned with God's unseen hand. And maybe, just maybe, in that quiet awareness, we too will choose to walk in the light that never falters.